What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Motorworks Garage. We are back working on the YZ250F. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. This is Motorworks Garage, and we pretty much work on hopefully anything that has a motor. So today we are working on the YZ250F here, and if you guys have seen the previous episodes, we were having some carb issues. We couldn't get it started. Now we're having some other issues, but if you are new here, yeah, this is going to be our YZ250F, and we work on a whole bunch of other stuff. We got a mini bike going on. We've got this dirt bike. We're going to have hopefully a Honda Odyssey later on, so we bought a welder. So if you guys would like to go and check out those other videos, just click back in the video section on my page and you can see what we're going on here. But today we're going to be hopefully pulling out this carburetor again. We just rebuilt it. We used the ultrasonic cleaner to clean the carb. It was running really nice on choke, but then once you turn it off choke, it backfires really bad. It doesn't want to idle, and then the exhaust gets super hot really fast. So I'm taking it, when I pulled the old jets out and put some of the new jets in, I kind of mixed them up because some of them were worn and stuff, but I'm going to take apart the carb, put in all the original jets, and then I might have to go through my little seal kit here and this big seal right here. I don't know if this goes on the actual slide or not, because there's two different sections of the slide, but I might have to put that back on too. But we're going to tear apart the carb, get all the original jets back in, and see what else we can do and see if this thing will run off choke. And then if it keeps backfiring, next I'm going to do is probably pull off the top of the head there, or the top of the valve cover, and see if it's jump timing. So other than that, hopefully that's all I can think of, and hopefully one of those two are going to be it for the problem, and then we can get this sucker running for the summertime. So let's stop talking and let's get into this carb. Alright, so we're just getting the bowl off here, and it still looks pretty clean. There's still some other like stuff in there that's been in there before, but it still looks just like it was. We've got our on-the-fly fuel and air mixture screw out, and everything's off. So what we're really looking at here is on the inside here, you've got your main jets. You got your main jet, your pilot jets here. I want to switch those out just because I don't know if they're different sizes or not. So in my old parts here, I want to make sure that they're all the same size, and if they're not, then I'm actually just gonna put in all the old jets, because if it was working before, it should be working now. So I'm gonna pull off this plastic piece, pull out all the jets, and see what sizes they are, and then put all the old ones back in, and then fire it up. Hopefully it runs off a choke and no backfire, and if it backfires, then I'm gonna take and put this ring hopefully on the slide mount there and see if that works. And other than that, I don't really know what else to do other than go into the top of the motor and check valve clearances and check to make sure timing hasn't jumped. All right, we got the carb in, everything is hooked up. We're gonna put the gas tank on temporarily, like for the 16th time now. Let's get my kicking stand here. We're gonna put it on choke. Let me make sure the idle is where it should be. Let's see what happens. Hopefully it runs. Alright, so we changed the jets, the two jets in there that were the smaller ones. I went back to the 1 3/4 for the fuel and air mixture screw. I adjusted the throttle. I can't even barely get it to run on choke now, so I'm going to pull it back off, put that gasket in between the slide and that other flap there, so hopefully that's it. If not, I have no idea. I'm just going to have to start tinkering around with it and then put it back on camera and show you guys what the issue was. But this is like the 5th day, and like altogether, it's been a couple weekends, working on and tinkering with it. It's been a while. Like this is stumping me. I hate dealing with carbs like this because I don't know anything about the rejetting stuff and doing all that. So yeah, I guess I just gotta figure stuff out and kind of pick through everything and make sure I put all the gaskets in and all that stuff. So I'm gonna shut off the fuel and pull everything back apart and see what's going on. Alright guys, we're back a couple days later here. I've been having to go to work, I've got a whole bunch of other stuff going on, so we had to take a break, but I've kind of been fiddling with it here and there, doing a whole bunch of research and talking to a whole bunch of buddies, because I've never had to dig into the actual motor before, so to make sure that I'm thinking everything right, thinking everything through, and making sure I'm on the right track here. So right now I have the top of the valve cover off. And I've been doing a whole bunch of research online and seeing why it hasn't been running. So the last time it was actually running is I had to turn the idle all the way up, and I had to I couldn't get it to run off of choke, and then I had to turn the idle all the way up to even get it to run when it was off of choke. So when I had it running off of choke, it was just spitting and backfiring, and it just wasn't running like good at all. And then when I stepped back from the bike, the exhaust was glowing red. And talking with my buddies, trying to figure stuff out, seeing what's going on. So with the backfiring issue, once I've got the actual valve cover off here, here's my valve cover. I took off the vent, and I took off my spark plug boot, and I've got the 2 bolts that hold the actual cover down, and then I've got the 2 covers that open up to the flywheel and stuff. So I've got all that off, and I've got everything set to top dead center right now. If you guys don't know how, there is on the flywheel, there's an HI on the flywheel, and you have to line up that I with this. It's literally like, it looks like the letter is just a straight like I. It looks like the letter I, and you line that up with this bottom notch right here. And once that's lined up, you want to make sure on this other side, on the right side of your bike, that the 2 lobes aren't pushing down on the valves over here. And then once you come back over this side, you want to make sure that on your 2 cams you've got the little notches. There's like little dots on your cam gears here. So there's one like right there along the top of the motor, and there's one right here. And you want to make sure that the same way is over here. So you have one here, and then you also have one on this side, but you can kind of see how that's up a little bit. And right here you can't really see the dot at all on this one. So what I'm thinking, hopefully I'm thinking this right, that this has jumped a tooth, and so that's why we're backfiring. So if I take this and just turn it 1 tooth over, so I'm gonna have to undo the chain tension right here, and I'm going to take all the screws out for the cams right there, and this will start to be loose. And I think this is kind of way too loose anyway. I think it's supposed to be like 1 millimeter, and I feel like that's just way too loose. So I'm going to take this, turn it 1 tooth over, so then these are both parallel to each other running across the head. So you have that little dot running across the head with that one straight up and down, and you have that one straight up and down with these 2 running across the heads. So hopefully that will fix our backfiring issue. Now with the glowing exhaust, I went through, and once I took the valve covers off, I took my shimming kit right here, or my little feeler gauges, and I measured all the clearances for the shims. So you've got 2 up in the front for the exhaust side, and then you've got 3 in the back for your intake side. So I measured it, and when you come over here to the paper with all my scribbles on it here, the exhaust side should measure between 0.17 and 0.22, and for the left valve it measured 0.20. This is for the exhaust side, so it measured 0.20, which is in the range of what it should measure. And then on the right side, the right valve only measured 0.10, so that's out of clearance where it should be measuring at. So that one's going to be tight. And then on the intake side, you have the 3. You have the left, you have the center one, and you have the right one. The left one and the right one, I couldn't even get a 0.02 in there, and they're supposed to be measuring between 0.10 and 0.10 and 0.15, and I couldn't even get a 0.02 in the left or right one. So the center one was fine. That was at 0.10, and that's what it should be, in between 0.10 and 0.15. So that's like just on the line. So I'm going to leave that one, the center one, on the intake, and I'm going to leave the left one on the exhaust side. But the left and right on the intake, and then the right side on the exhaust, I'm going to be re-shimming. So what I did is went out and bought a hot cam shim kit, and hopefully we can go in here, get everything torn apart from the top end, and get it going. So I've never done this before, so I can't show you how to do it. I'm just going to take you along for the ride, and hopefully everything works out, and hopefully this bike will be running by tonight, because if this works, that will take care of our backfiring, and that will take care of our glowing exhaust. And it might not take care of our backfiring, because I've kind of like took the carb out of the question, because we've cleaned it, we've rejetted it and all that stuff, we're putting new jets in it. So if it doesn't like take care of the backfiring, but you can still actually just like let it idle without it being having the idle turned up, that will be a lot better, and we can just kind of rejet it from there and put the stock jets back in, or just mess with the fuel and air mixture screws. So other than that, I'm going to start tearing apart the top of the motor here and hopefully get this sucker running. All right, guys, so you can see I've gotten the exhaust side taken apart. Now I've got the whole valve in, or I've got the whole cam and everything out. So I put the shim over here. So looking at it, someone's already been in it. It is a hot cam shim, pretty much the same kit as this, but it's a 1.80. So if we come over to here on my thing, we had to be between 0.17 and 0.22. I was on 0.10 because I'm not touching the left side. I'm only touching the right because this was in spec. So I'm going for I measured 0.10. So if you flip it over here, if you're looking at the 0.10 here, you need to get to 0.17 and 0.22. So what is the difference between 0.10 and 0.17? It is going to be 0.07. So that is the difference between these two right here, and then the difference between 0.10 and 0.22 is going to be a 0.12. So we're going to come up here for our math, and I had 1.80, which is what was in the bike. That's what I measured, which is the 1.80, and we're going to use the 1.80 minus the 0.07, which is, that's where I got the 7, because that's the difference between 0.10 and 0.17. So I'm going to use I'm going to use the 0.07 minus those two, and I get 1.73. I do the same thing with the 0.12, and I get 1.80 minus my 0.12 equals 1.68. So now this kit here goes by 5. So it goes by 1.70, 1.75, 1.80, 1.85. So I need to find something in between 1.68 and 1.73. So when I come through here, I'm at 1.65. So I need to get to, I need to go above that because I need to be at 1.68, and I can't go over 1.73. So if I'm at 1.68, which is right here, and 1.73, which is right here, I can go with a 1.70 is in between the 1.68 and 1.73. Over 1.73 is 1.75, so that won't work, and under 1.68 is 1.65. So I have to go with 1.70. So I'm going to be going from a 1.80 to a 1.70. So that's going to make it smaller for that shim here. So that's going to make me in spec. All right, so I don't know if you can see down in here, but right there you can see my shim. I just put that in there. That's the 1.70, and I'm going to put my bucket on here, and let's get the bucket. We're going to put this sucker in there. I don't know if you guys can see at all. All right, I had to do a little finagling, but I got it in there. It slid in there nice and perfect. So I'm going to put the exhaust side back together, and I want to tighten it all down and make sure that my shim will fit before I go onto the intake side. All right, so we've kind of got everything all changed around here. So we ended up taking the taking the exhaust cam cap and the cam out and re-shimming it. So we went from a 180 to a 170, and everything is back in place. As you can see here, when you pull the chain over here tight, the knobs, they line up just, or the little dots on the cam, they line up just like they were. So I don't have the chain tensioner in yet, and we still have to do the intake side. But I just want to show you guys that I was successful, and I've got my feeler gauge here, and I'm gonna go underneath it. This is the 0.20, so if you guys remember, the clearances were supposed to be 0.17 to 0.22, and as I go in here with the 0.20, it slides in there, and there's just a little bit of tension, so we are good to go on that. Let me just make sure over here. I already know it's good, but I was kind of off. So yeah, that is good. And then let me check this center one here. This one should also be good. And it is. It slides in there with just a little bit of tension. So the exhaust side, I'm going to say, is good to go. So we're going to work on the intake side now and get that off. You can see I already got a socket on there, and I've already got one screw out. So we're going to work on getting the rest out and re-shim those as well. We got lucky on the first one. You could actually read what that said for the shim. That was a 180. This one, this is going to be the left side. So if you guys remember on here, my little sheet, the left and the right for the intake is what we're going to be readjusting. So I'm doing the left right now, and on the left you can't see what is on there because it's like rubbed off. You can kind of see that ring. So that's what we use that this digital calibrator for. So I'm gonna break that open, see if I can measure that and get the right measurement, and go from there. So as you can see here, I've got the shim in my calibrator here, and I just literally lightly set it in there, and then you just kind of clamp it down, and then I'm reading 1.5, and then I'll do it again and spin it just a little bit and clamp it again, and I'm at 1.5, and I'm not pushing too hard. I just want to get the right reading. And so yeah, I'm keep getting 1.5 for every single one. So I'm gonna say this is a 1.5. So we're at a 1.5. So we're gonna have to do some math. So do the same thing like we did before. Take what we got from our normal thing here. So if we flip it over, we got to get to 0.01, and we got to be in between a 0.10 and 0.15. And here is the difference between those. It's going to be 0.09 and a 0.14. Alright, so I got the math here. We did the 1.50, which was what the shim that we pulled out was, and we're going to do the minus 0.09, which is going to give us 1.41, and then we're going to do 1.50 minus the 0.14, and that's going to give us 1.36. So if we come up here, we got to be in between a 1.36 and 1.41. So here's 1.35, and then 1.45 is too big, so we're at 1.40. So we're going to use the 1.40 for the left shim, and we're going to do the exact same thing. I'm not going to do this one for the right shim for the intake, since I've already done it twice for you guys. But yeah, we're going to use the 1.40 for the left on the intake, and then we're going to measure the right on the intake as well. And we should be able to torque everything back down and use our feeler gauges to figure out if we shim the intake side right. So hopefully we did. I'm going to put this shim in and get going on the right side, and I'll get back to you guys once I'm torquing everything down. I've got the intake cam and the cap on, and the chain looks good. And if you can look straight ahead here, you can see that both dots are equal to the top of the head there. And then this dot over here is perfect with that dot going up and down and that dot going up and down. So that looks good. I still don't have the chain tensioner in, but if you come over to the other side over here, both lobes are pointed out equally now, and it looks really good. So I'm going to put in the chain tensioner and get the torque specs for that. And I'm also going to, well, before that, I gotta still torque this cap down. These are, it says like 7.2 foot-pounds, but I'm doing 5 just because I just have a cheap Harbor Freight torque wrench, and I don't want to over-torque them and strip them, because that is going to be the last thing I want to do right now. So I'm going to just do 5 foot-pounds, and once if I get it running and stuff and everything, I'm going to take it all back apart, and I'm going to go get a better torque wrench, and I'm going to get a digital one to be able to get exact torque. But right now I'm just doing 5 foot-pounds, and that should work perfect. And I'm going to put the chain tensioner in, get the chain tensioned, and get that torque down as well, and see if this sucker will fire. Alright, so for the intake, it was 0.10 to 0.15, so we're going to get my hands in here. I'm sorry if you can't see, but if I can get the feeler gauge down in there. We're using the 0.10, and it slides in. There's like a little bit of tension on each pull. I'm going to say that one is good. And then that is the left side on the intake, and then if we go to the center one here, that one is kind of loose, but I can still feel tension. And then if we come over to the right side here with the 1.0, that one slides in pretty easy. So let's go up to the 115, because that's all I have next, and that's in the range. So hopefully this gets a lot tighter. And it does. And then so does the middle one. So I'm going to say we're good. We're good on clearances here for those shims. It says that it is still 5 foot-pounds, so I'm going to do 5 foot-pounds for this one, but I don't know how I'm going to do the inside one because all I have is this 3/8 torque wrench. Let's see if I can get in here with this. I probably won't be able to at all. Hell no. Alright, I got it as close as I can to perfect. Let's see what the chain looks like. The chain looks like it is in good condition, but That doesn't look, oh man, my screws are off. Chain tensioner is on. Chain is, looks like it is pretty good to go. So it's not moving a whole bunch. So I'm gonna say that is good right there. And I'm pretty sure it's like 1 millimeter. It should be moving. And this is like, it's moving, but you can tell it's got some tension on it. So I'm gonna say that's good. We're gonna put the head back on. I'm first going to put the caps back on here, down at the bottom of the bike. So I've got 3 caps off. I've got these 2 side caps for the flywheel, and I've got my oil cap off. Moment of truth here, I did kick it over. I got the gas tank in, I got the choke on and stuff, but I did kick it over to make sure I don't hear any like binding or anything. It sounds good. Yeah, I don't hear any binding, no clanking, no nothing. I'm gonna turn the idle down just a little bit here. Moment of truth right here. Choke is on, fuel is on. Alright, it is super nice outside. Yeah, open up the garage doors just a little bit here. And we're back on the bike again. So, the GoPro died and we got the bike actually running. It still shows a little sign of the exhaust being super red. But I turned the fuel and air mixture screw out to 3. It was at 1 3/4. And then it does backfire a little bit whenever I let off the throttle. So what I'm going to do is put the whole back of the bike back together. I'm going to leave the mixed jets together, and like the old jets and the new jets that I got in the rebuild kit. And I'm going to leave those in there. I'm going to see if I can get it tuned like this. And then if it still backfires after I get everything back on and kind of adjust it and, figure out the fuel and air mixture screw some more. If it still backfires and the exhaust, I can still see the exhaust getting hot at all. Then I'm going to take the carb back apart, take everything back off, take the carb back apart, and put everything stock back in there and bring it to its stock form. So stock form means to me that when I got the bike, it had all the stock jets. This idle screw was 9, you could see 9 threads on the thing, and I'm going to take the fuel and air mixture screw out to 3.5. So that's how I got the bike. And then if that doesn't work, I'm gonna have to call in some backup because I don't know what else is keeping that exhaust red hot. I don't know what else is the backfiring. I know the backfiring has got to be from fuel and air, but I just can't tune it. I can't figure it out. So yeah, let's put everything back together, see if we can get this sucker tuned. I'm gonna pick up the camera once I kind of get everything put back together, because I don't want to bore you guys with everything. So I'm gonna kind of figure out my tuning stuff and go from there. All right, guys, the bike has finally moved from its resting spot. After 4 weeks, I figured it out. You guys can see I've got it all put back together. I went and just rode it in the yard, and it runs amazing. I can't believe what I freaking did. It was a rookie mistake. It was something in the car. I want to show you guys it's something super easy to change up. When I don't actually remember when I pulled it apart. I remember taking the piece that was wrong and putting it down the right way it came out, and then I remember putting it the right way it came in. So I don't know if the kid tried to rebuild the car because when I first pulled it apart, it was, there was some gunk in there and stuff, but you could tell like someone's kind of been in it and everything. So I don't know if it was actually me that flipped it around or if it was a kid before or what. It's been 4 weeks of me kind of, not every single day, all day, but just me coming out here tinkering with this stuff. And I finally figured it out. So I'm gonna get everything pulled back apart. I'm gonna show you guys what I had put back together in the carburetor. I'm gonna tear apart the top of the carb here. We were having really lean conditions. The exhaust was getting super red hot and not even a minute of idling, at higher RPMs when I was pulling it apart. Or like trying to mess with the idle and stuff. But yeah, really, it was like getting super hot, super fast. It was just backfiring really bad. Fuel and air was off and everything. So I took out the carb because we cleaned it. We did everything for it. And I just didn't think that was it. Next, we kind of, I went to the shim, to the valves, because I was thinking if they're tight, they're not opening correctly, making everything hot. And making the exhaust get super hot and backfiring. I was close, but it's still, it was still good that we did that because they were tight. There were some shims that were tight, and it makes for easy starting and stuff like that. So, I'm glad that we did that. So that did solve another issue, but that wasn't the issue that we were looking for. So pulling apart this slide, when you pull it out here, there is this little plate right here, and when I see, if you can see right here, there's like a divot right here, and then on this other side there's a divot. Well, when I pulled it out, it was switched around like this. So when I put it back in, it went in like this with a divot up and then this down, so blocking fuel and air from getting through and you know, idle and stuff like that. So, and that was the first issue. And then this second issue was with the needle. This needle is a stock needle that I had, and this needle right here is the needle that came in the kit. So if you guys can look at this, let me put this slide down. I don't think you guys are going to be able to see it very well because it is super, super hard to see even for me being here. But if you put these next to each other, and I'm not going to take off the circlip, but if you put them next to each other, this stock needle is smaller than the needle that we got in the kit. So in diameter, it's smaller, and then this our stock needle is like it's like you can barely tell that it is just shorter than this needle. So that is going to change a lot. You don't think it's going to, but it does. Like, carbs are super finicky. You got to make sure everything is on point. So just changing this because it is just too long than the stock one. So I switched that back over and I put it at the same needle height. And then with this slide, I literally just turn this around for that divot to be in the same spot as that. And then once you put everything back together, it literally, like, second kick, the bike fired right up. And it idled and everything. I took it off choke and it ran phenomenal. So it definitely was running in a lean condition. You know, it wasn't getting the right fuel and air because of that plate, and then also because of the needle. The needle was off, and it just was not letting enough fuel and air getting through. So yeah, that was my issue. It's a rookie mistake if I did it. I'm not going to say I didn't. I could have easily have done it because I took apart the carb multiple times on the top. There's no excuse for it. You know, it's just a rookie mistake. You know, this is the first time I've ever taken apart an actual dirt bike carb and actually tried to, you know, build something that wasn't running when I got it. Normally, all my stuff, you know, it's either me having it running and all that stuff, and just I got to fix something really small. I have no excuse for it, and it's just a rookie mistake, and it's something to learn from. The more carbs you take apart and the more things you do for dirt bikes or whatever you're working on, you know, the easier it's going to get because the more you do it. So, yeah, I'm just excited that thing's finally running now. I actually have a bike for the summer. I thought I was just going to have to take it to a shop and, you know, bite the bullet and have someone pay for it to figure it out. You know, it was going to be something stupid, but I'm glad I you know, went through the forums, watched the YouTube videos and everything. After 4 weeks, I finally figured it out, and it was just a rookie mistake. So, yeah, guys, just be careful, you know, how you put stuff back together. But even still, like this, I mean, hopefully this helps out a lot of people because, yeah, we did re-shimming. We checked for air leaks on the actual gasket right here. For going from the intake to the carb, you just take some starting fluid spray in between here to see if it's sucking in air, and if your bike revs up, then obviously you have an air leak. You don't need to spray, you know, past the carb into your boot, you know, where your air filter is at, because it's already going from there into the air and stuff isn't getting mixed up right there. So, yeah, I mean, you don't really got to spray right there. Make sure you put everything back together right. So, yeah, I'm going to get all this put back together, and I'm going to put it back in the bike and show you guys what it sounds like after a couple kicks. You know, hopefully I didn't mess up anything now because I took it back apart, because I rode it around the yard. It runs great. I've got the fuel and air set to 3.5 right now. I kind of got to mess with it, but I wanted to pump out as much fuel as I can into it because I want it to not run in a lean condition again, and I want it to be as rich as possible. You know, I mean, not super, super rich, but I want it to be richer than normal. All right, you guys seen this one before. I've got no seat, no numbers, but I got the gas tank on. I got the subframe on. I have no air leaks right here. I've got no air leaks in the front there, so all these are definitely tight. I went over, you know, I just kind of got everything loose to just make sure, you know, I don't got to take it apart. So, yeah, I'm going to turn on the choke. I got fuel running to the carb. That was second kick. Then you turn off the choke, and it idles right down. It runs super nice. You give it a little bit of gas. Throttle response is there. It sounds really good out here. You're ticking up in the front. So it sounds really good. It sounds really healthy. The kid that I bought it from before, he said that he had a new top end put in and stuff. So hopefully that is what's true. Like I said in the first couple videos that I made, I did see the new gaskets in here for the head and everything. So it looks like it has been gone through. But yeah, I mean, I finally got the thing to run. I finally got it to idle, and I finally got it to rev, and it sounds really good. I'm glad I did the shims, because if we had some hard starting issues, I'd be really irritated about that, and I wouldn't want to tear apart the head after I actually could get it running. So yeah, we've got a whole bunch more stuff to do to this thing. I just want to get the thing running now. So yeah, that's going to be the end of the video here. And we finally got this thing to run, so that's all that I really care about. And it looks really, I mean, it doesn't look the best, but that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a bike that I can just ride and not have to worry about, you know, and be able to dump and just get back on it and go. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video here. I'm going to spin it around. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope this actually helps you, you know, going through and figuring out if something else is wrong with your bike. This definitely helped me. I mean, like I said, a ton of YouTube videos, a ton of just research, looking at forums, talking with people on Facebook, you know, those groups and everything. It's just been a hassle. Like, I have literally been racking my brain for the last 4 weeks, but we finally figured out it was a rookie mistake, either on my part, the last kid parts, whoever, you know. When you mess with stuff, make sure you put it back the correct way. So other than that, guys, make sure to like, leave a comment if you guys like this video. If you guys have any questions, leave a comment and need help with anything, or if you guys can tell me anything else more about the bike that I should be looking at or should be doing to it. I'm definitely gonna get some grease and greasing like the pivot points, you know, on the swing arm and stuff like that. So yeah, if you guys can, hit that like button, subscribe, you know, because we got a whole bunch of other stuff coming to this channel. And like I said, I'll catch you guys on the next video. See you later.